Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live Inside the Booth. I'm your host, MC, whatever you want to call it, Marlon Lowe. Hey, everybody. Listen, welcome to Live Inside the Booth. I got to make sure that we get this together. But look, we're going to go straight into our conversation today. We want to talk about the Cypress Hoops Invitational, which is coming up December 6th, 7th, and 8th. Got some hosts or guests today. We got Zertuche from Texas Hoops Gasso, and we got Marcus Sloan from Over on the Radar Exposure. These guys are going to come in. We're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk teams. We're going to talk players, style of play. Who's going to help to impact this game this weekend, this tournament this weekend, who you need to watch, and just kind of standouts or maybe even players to watch. So while you're watching this, feel free to share this opportunity, this experience with friends and family. Your colleagues, hit that share button. But right now, let's bring in our panelists. We got Zertuche and Marcus Sloan. Guys, welcome to Live Inside the Booth.
How you doing?
Doing good. Hey, Blue, how's it going?
It's going great over here, man. Getting ready to head down to Houston today.
Oh, you coming down today?
Come down to the 9 a.m. game. I don't like to wake up at 4 in the morning and have to travel.
I like that.
So we'll be down there tonight with Sam Lowe.
I get that. That's all right. Well, welcome to Sam. I know Sam's probably checking it out, kind of see what's going on. Look, Cypress Hoops Invitational. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, December 6th, 7th, and 8th. A lot of teams. But there was 24 teams. Some of the top teams from the Houston area and obviously from Dallas and San Antonio are coming down. Y'all excited about it? What you think, Sloan?
I'm very excited about it. Get a chance to watch the Duncanville team live here in Houston and see Coach Peavy and Coach Woods, a couple of friends of mine. Looking forward to seeing them and seeing Jemiah Ramsey and those guys.
Okay. What about yourself, Blue?
Well, I think this is one of the best tournaments in the entire state. When you kind of break down the top 3 or 4, Whataburger, Allen, Cypher ISD, all of those are lumped in the same category as being some of the top in the state. And they do a really good job of waiting to see, kind of let the first couple of weeks go by, try to get the records, try to get the best matchups. And usually, when we get to the Final Four, really quality teams. So a lot of depth as always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll tell you what, we won't take too much time. Let anybody's time for. Let's talk about the top side of this bracket so we can get started. Look, as everybody can see right now, the top side of this bracket, we got Port Arthur Memorial against Arlington Bowie. We have Spring versus Bridgeland, Cypress Side Springs versus Side Creek. It's like they're real close to each other, but I think that they're in the different districts now. And then we have Duncanville versus Side Park. Blue. Let's talk about this, the first round matchup of Port Arthur Memorial and Arlington Bowie. What do you think about those matchups?
This is actually one of the interesting ones because you have a Memorial that's coming in on a 4 or 5 game winning streak. They started the season off 3-4. They picked it up. They're getting the ball to their big men, Kenneth Lofton and Nate Clover. And the guard play is very important for this team because they like to play fast. Alden Lewis, first year taking over a state championship team, he's got them going right now in the right direction because we have them near the top of the 5A and expect them to go deep into the playoffs again and maybe even make state. So even though that they got this first round matchup against Arlington Bowie started 0-6 on the year. They put together 5 straight wins. So they're 5-8 right now because they have a quarterback off the football field. That's an all-district quarterback that's helping them with point production, with rebounds in Malcolm Mays. He's a senior. He's 6'7". He's running the floor well. They're getting him the ball, and they're also looking toward their sophomore, Dante Cody, he leads them in assists with 3 a game. He's adding rebounds at 6 and 10 points a game, and he's a 6'3" sophomore. So now they're kind of finding their way after, the Cade Cunningham has left. And so it just was a matter of time before they got some toughness from the football field to kind of add to those wins right now. And if you do look at Port Arthur Memorial, they did early on lose to Silsbee, Lancaster, and Beaumont United. So 3 out of their 4 losses have been against really high quality teams.
Okay, so they picked it. They got their RPI up from the beginning. How they? I know they try to say that from college basketball, they don't really use it anymore for RPI. But hey, like you said, they played 3 top teams out the gate. That's going to continue to help them through district, and I'm sure that they plan on playing those games, which is going to help flow into this tournament right here. So looking forward to seeing that matchup as well. Sloan, what do you think about this 5 o'clock matchup with Spring versus Bridgeland?
The spring team, the Spring Lions team, man, they have 2 senior guards, Keontae Cornelius and Christian Eugene, with big-time backcourt here in the city and the state. Just last night, Keontae had 35 points, and they had a big win versus Klein Forest. That team is really hot right now. They're well coached. They also have a 6'6" inside kid, Wade Arthurreith, who kind of holds down the paint for them, holds down the middle. So I expect Spring to kind of win this game. Bridgeland is a new varsity program, but they have a couple transfers, a couple guys transfer from Side Lake, actually 2 brothers, Cam and Jordan Clardy. Cam is a junior. He's probably averaged about 26 points. He had 29 last night in a loss in their first district game. And his brother Jordan is a sophomore. And then they'll also get back a 6'6" inside kid here soon, coming back from injury.
Hey, that tells us right there. And I know Keontae Cornelius, I know him particular individually. He's going to always bring some firepower. He's a strong lefty. And he puts that thing in the hole real early, often, and even through mistakes.
Yeah, right now, he's probably the most, I would say, efficient scorer in the city right now. His last few games, he had 21 and a half versus Morton Ranch in the Katy tournament. Finished with 31 total for the game. But right now, I'd probably say he's arguably the best scorer here in the city.
That says a lot, especially coming into this event right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got that 6 o'clock game. Blue, Duncanville and Cy Park.
Well, yeah, Sloan might want to jump in on this one too. Let's start with Cy Park. Before we get to Duncanville, Cy Park, Alex Denson, their head coach. They're 4-6 right now. They're kind of they go in waves. They'll lose 2, win 2, lose 2, win 2. They lost last night in their first district game, and so now they're hoping not to continue the trend of doubling up and getting that loss. But they have the tough task of playing Duncanville. They're going to count on Cameron Jings to continue to rebound, get the ball off the glass, and head up the court. He's averaging 6 rebounds right now a game. AJ Ferguson, he's averaging 12 points. So those 2 guys are going to have to lead the team. They're young. They're without they have 0 seniors on that team with varsity experience. So they are looking at this as a way to gear up toward district, kind of focus a little bit more down the road in terms of, hey, there's a bigger prize. We want to, of course, show well, but we got to gain experience with our seniors, with our juniors, so we can be competitive down the road, because they're sitting at 4-6 right now. Other side of this, Duncanville, 5-5. Where's their identity right now? I think is a big question. They have the players, Ramsey, Micah Peavy. They rely on Ian Goodman, who's also a 10 to 11 point per game guy. So where they have to start getting some strings here of wins. They do not back down. The one thing you can't say about Duncanville, they have not backed down away from competition. They played South Garland, Lake Ridge, Midway, Sunrise Christian, Kimball. They have Lancaster next Friday. So this is not a schedule that's soft just to get some wins, to get to 20 or 25 wins. They're trying to build something and get back to where they once were. Very interesting group. Listen, we got to see what's going to happen.
Wow, you're right. They got a loaded group, and they didn't, like you said, they're not running from anybody. They didn't put a lot of work in already as far as scheduling. So you think you have anything on Duncanville? Something you say you're excited about seeing Coach Peavy?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see Coach Peavy's return, and obviously bringing in son Micah and Jemiah Ramsey. I saw them at the Elite 14 in Wichita Falls, and I saw them against I think they were playing Sunrise then too. So just a super super talented wings. They have some kids that can make some outside shots. It just kind of like Blue said, like, can they find their identity outside of Micah and Jemias?
Okay. Look, for anybody that's watching, before tomorrow's first game starts, log on Twitter at Inside Booth on Twitter. We got a poll on there, so you can pick your team to win. Yes or no, who's going to win these first round matchups. So make sure you log on to there, get a chance to pick your team, try to let people know who you're pulling for, and obviously who you think might get an upset. Now, Sloan, first part of last game at the top of the bracket. Second 6:30 game, Gym 2, we got Cy Springs and Cy Creek.
So Cy Springs has an intriguing prospect, actually. Coach Boykin, he has a 6'5" wing named Devon Wright, who's averaging around 26 points a game. He also had 29 in his game last night. Long, kind of athletic kid, kind of burst on the scene with new opportunities at Cy Springs. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching him with my own eyes, getting a chance to evaluate him. And they're playing a Cy Creek team who made the playoffs last year, who's missing their best player, Nate Martin, for Coach Troquette. So hopefully these guys can get healthy and they can make a run. But I'm really interested to see this Cy Springs group and to watch the kid Devon Wright.
Heard a lot about Devon Wright. I know about him. No, you hurt his foot at playing summer ball last summer. We're not going to talk about that at all. So took him a little progression. Coach was kind of keeping him off to the side a little bit, trying to make sure he stays healthy coming into this season right now. You're right. He's about 6'6", got a good frame. Pretty much does a kind of versatile, does a lot of things.
Yep.
So let's go to this. Let me see. I think it's the middle part of the bracket. Let's see what we got here on this. Middle part of the bracket. We got Cy Lakes and Decaney, Eisenhower versus Cy Falls. Is it Lancaster? Some people say Lancaster. Some people say Lancaster. I'm saying Lancaster and Nimitz. And then we got Cy Fair versus Langham Creek. This could be a good opportunity right now, too. De'Aaron Fox is not walking through that building.
No, he's not. No, he isn't.
That building at Cy Lakes.
No, he isn't. And, I think Coach O recognizes that, and he's using the talent he has. They're also missing one of their better players, a guard, Zach Selvich, out with an injury. But they have a kid, Khalik Abdul-Mateen, who's playing really well for them right now. And, Coach O, since the departure of De'Aaron, has done a good job of trying to figure out, mix and match what kids gel well, which kids he can use, which kids he can count on to be successful. And the kid, Abdul-Mateen, like I said, he's played really well for them. As far as Decaney, Coach Jackson is a new head coach there, replacing David Peavy, who we previously mentioned. He has some young guards that he has to mold, and they've so far played also a really, really tough schedule. They've played Beaumont United, Dickinson, at Klein Forest. Their first game was at the Woodlands. So they're battle-tested right now. They're 4-6. Like I said, trying to figure it out, trying to get it together, but I have no doubt that Coach Jackson, whom I've worked with previously this past summer, can help get a turnaround for those guys.
Okay. All right. Now, yeah, they need to try to turn that around a little bit. We'll be okay with that. Blue, we got the 6:30 game. Lancaster and Nimitz from Dallas. Yeah. They came down last. I know they were down here last week at the Rick Nelson's Hoops Giving tournament. Had a good showing against that St. Port Arthur Memorial team that you talked about. Tell us what to expect going into this first game right here.
You need to expect complete opposites when it comes to playing. Unfortunately, Aldi Nimitz is without their best scorer, Reggie Como. Not sure when he'll return, but you can tell in the box score that they miss him because they only have 2 games over 55. They scored 63 against Clear Falls in an overtime loss. They scored 61 in a loss to Stratford. So, they're pretty much playing in the 40s, sometimes creeping up into the 50s. And that right here, that's not good enough when you're going to play Lancaster. Lancaster is going to run you. They're simply tough, and they're going to and they don't wow you with the sets that they run or what they're going to do offensively other than they are tough. Jalen, they have a senior, Jalen Robert, who is 6'1", a 6'1" guard that will go down onto the block and go get 4 to 6 points a game. They're tough. They're built to run. They're going to have guards out there with Mike Miles that they're going to hit the three-way Taylor. Last night they were down 32-7 to South Garland at home. 32-7.
Wow.
Yeah, they came back to win 78-76 down to at the buzzer. So they are there to just grind it out. And usually they're not going to be 20 points down usually. And Farron Douglas knows what he wants in his team, knows what he expects. And the last couple of years, they go out there with so many guards. They don't have the Elijah Thomases or the big men anymore that they used to have. So they're just going to beat you with speed, and they're going to even pound it inside with a 6'1" guard.
Man, I tell you, I know Coach Tom. I mean, he's energetic, man. He stands up and he moves back and forth and he pushes on man and he lets them know what's going on. So he's involved throughout the whole process of the game. I enjoy. I've been watching him for years on there, so I like watching him play. And the kids play hard for him. Now I tell you what, Blue, they got like 3 to 4. I know 3 guys that can really knock that ball down, right?
Well, they got, yeah. So, they have Mike Miles that all these guys can be the lead guard. So you're looking at a lot of combos with him, Wade Taylor, sophomore Wade Taylor, Marco Foster, who's a junior. He can really shoot it going outside. So, I mean, you're just looking at all of these guards that, one, they're just going to be tougher than most teams.
Right.
They are going to be in the right places off penetration kicks. Mm-hmm. And simply defensively, they're all over their opponents. And like I said, I mean, Aldine Nimitz they're not going to have enough at this point, especially for the school board to really to challenge them in that first game.
Okay. So we're gonna have to move past that. Otherwise, it's gonna be a giant David versus Goliath if we see anything else, guys. You know what happens. So the 5 o'clock game, Sloan, Gym 2. We got Eisenhower and Cy Falls. How are we looking for that matchup right there?
Well, so we have 2 kind of contrasting teams, especially in age. You have a veteran Eisenhower team who's actually been struggling as of late. A lot of people picked them to get back to the regional finals to play against South Garland, but they've had 2 weeks ago they lost to Klein Forest at home, and so they've kind of been up and down this year. They obviously have their 2 leaders, their 2 captains, the twins, Jamar and Jameer Reedus, who kind of lead them. They have a sophomore, Patrick Punch, who's up and coming. They have another 6'6" inside kid, Matt Barber, who's playing well for them inside. So a lot of people have a lot of expectations for them, and they did, kind of pick them to be one of the favorites in that region. And now they're playing a Cy Falls team who loses a bunch of veterans, who loses Trey Wesley and got Andrew Wynn and a veteran crew, obviously, who Nigel Hawkins, who won state as juniors, and now Coach, is looking to rebuild. But he has a lead guard, Jaden Jones, Jaden Ross, who's a sophomore, who's been their best player so far.
They're gonna be bringing it then. Is there a player to watch in particular for that game? Somebody that we need to keep our eyes on, a sleeper, anybody?
I would say the guy Matt Barber for Eisenhower, their inside kid. He's kind of their glue guy. They're tough, physical interior guys. And for me, how he plays is how that team's going to go this year. If he can rebound and finish inside and be physical, I think that gives them a chance.
Okay. Look, we're moving right along here, guys. I think it's going to be good. Hopefully we get some good feedback. And these coaches might be using this as a scouting report for tomorrow. They might be using it as a scouting report for tomorrow. You guys are doing a good job. Now, Blue, 6:30. Game 2 is Cy Fair and Langham Creek. What do the coaches have to look for in that game? Tell us about the matchup for that.
Well, let's start with this. They're separated by about 5 miles. They're separated by 5 miles. They're in different districts. They're in different district play, but they're in the same independent school district. Mm-hmm. So, and also Cy Fair is Region 3, and Langham Creek is Region 2. So you got neighboring schools, same school district, and they are on different sides of the bracket. So this is a little bit of a rivalry game. Langham Creek is going to come in at 7-3 after winning last night against Cy Ranch. Their key player right now seems to be R.J. Crawford. So that's going in there. He's averaging 12 a game, but last night he put 21 up against Cy Ranch. So he's averaging about probably more about 13, 14 points a game right now. Jalen Moore is averaging 10 points also. So they're spreading the ball around. And interesting enough, they play about 10 to 11 guys per game. So they're playing 10 to 11 guys plus Coach Ament says that they're getting around 17, 18, 19 minutes a game out of each player, out of some players. So there's not somebody out there that's getting all 32 minutes of the game. He's rotating guys in and out. He's got two sophomores, they're twins, Trayvon and Trayshawn Clay. They speed the game up. They want to wear down their opponent defensively. They want to put ball pressure. And, of course, that's going to lead to hopefully easy buckets for Coach Amon's crew at Langham. Cypher, Chad Sulemanji, he'll play either way. He'll play in the half court because he has, as you know, Zach Ayemi, who's going to play with his back to the basket, who's going to be able to score at the rim and eat up a lot of space down there. So he's going to play a little bit slow. Sometimes the guards are going to break loose, and Jaleel Thomas, sophomore guard, likes to really get things going and speed the game up. And he's not stopping them. Coach Sulemanji is not stopping to slow them down when they do have transition points. So you're looking at teams with almost identical records at 8-3 and 7-3. Crosstown rivals, might as well play it right here in their tournament.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, Sloan, if there was a game out of this middle bracket, if there was a game to watch, what would you out of those four in the middle bracket, what would be the game to watch, you think?
For me, it's the Eisenhower-Decaney game. Eisenhower-Decaney game, just because I'm interested to see how this Eisenhower team is going to respond. Just because, like I said, that they've had a couple losses, and they may be feeling, that a little chink in their armor a little bit. So anytime they lose, they usually bounce back with a big win, like they did at the Hoop Giving Classic. So now I'm interested to see how they'll perform in this game in unfamiliar territory on the road.
Okay, you mean Eisenhower and Cy Falls game? The Eisenhower Cy Falls game.
Excuse me, Cy Falls. Yes.
Okay, no problem. Now, Blue, what do you say if there's a game to watch? Would you agree? Is there another game to watch within this middle bracket that you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, Sloan has a lot of really great points here with Eisenhower because we expect greatness from them. It seems every year, you always have these teams that are built to get to state eventually, and they have been together since their sophomore year. If you go back and you look at what Westlake did, they got to state during their senior year after everybody had the experience for 2 years on varsity. A few years back with Carson Edwards, Allen, it took 2 years for them. So there's a trend, and I think that this really is a key stretch for Eisenhower, that they have to build some wins because after Christmas they go to the Whataburger here in Fort Worth. Tough. It's not going to get easy for them, and they're getting tested pretty quickly here throughout their early part of the season. And so this team, I think, like Sloan said, we were circling them to get to state, and they're just not living up to it right now. So that's one of the key games because Lancaster should take care of business. You can look at Langham and Cypher as another kind of just fun game to go to that hopefully will have some atmosphere.
Right. Now, one thing about it, I'll say this. I know that Eisenhower is, you can say maybe early on the season, why they schedule like this, so hopefully they expecting to jail later on, That'd be a good way to look at it from that perspective. But I've seen them play a couple of times myself, and it's up and down, but like you all said, they just came off a tough loss. We'll see how it goes for them. Let's jump down to the bottom part of this bracket. Let's talk about it. Right now, we got, it's a good portion of the bracket as well, man. We got Dickinson and Jersey Village, North Shore, Cy Woods, For the life of me, I'm always going to pronounce it Waxahachie. Is that right, Blue?
That's where I pronounce it.
Okay, I'm going to call it that all the time, man. Waxahachie versus Cy Ridge. Then we got Cy Ranch versus Harker Heights. Starting out with the 5 o'clock game. Let's go bottom to the top on this one. Blue, you're going to be able to start us out on this. Let's go Cy Ranch versus Harker Heights. What do you think about that one right there?
Well, Cy Ranch is coming in with 6-2 right now, and they're playing good basketball. They have 5 seniors. They're not playing with any bigs, but they have a lot of guards and forwards that they're utilizing out there, and they're trying to gain. They want to be challenged. They're trying to gain experience also with their younger kids that are playing on the team. They do look at. They had 2 losses. One, they lost to Travis in overtime, and they lost to Houston Episcopal by 6. So they're competing, and they're going out there and they're winning some games and they're battling. DJ Johnson, Southern commit, signee. You know him well, Marlon. He's out there. He's leading them in points. Brandon Holt, unsigned senior, about 6'4", very athletic and active around the rim, is going for 14 and 8 early on in this season. And so they're out there and they're battling, and they're also a team that is going to give some people some fits because they are athletic. They're good ball handlers. They're skilled and they're fast. They're quick on defense as well. You look at Harker Heights. Harker Heights wants to play fast. Traditionally they are a 94-foot team. It doesn't matter if you have experience or not, because they too are young. He's going to throw you out there, and he expects you to be part of their program and learn from the guys from the years past. Right now, they're sitting on 7-4. They're coming back from a 5-1 record at the Corpus Coaches Association basketball tournament, which they fell short to Aldine Davis in the championship game last weekend. They're led by Jarvis Cherry, who's a 6'1 senior with 13 points a game. Jalen Flowers is 6'5 power forward, averaging 14.5 points a game, 7 rebounds. And they have a couple other guys that are in the mix for getting rebounds, taking it up court, and just playing fast. Mm-hmm. That's plain simple. They're just going to try it out. They want to attract me.
I can believe that. Now, also for all the viewers and participants and all the spectators that's going to be going out, know this. We know that the championship rounds are all played at the Berry Center, but on the first night, all the games they're kind of spread out. They're going to be playing at Cypress Ranch High School. They're going to be playing at Cypress Lakes High School and at Cy Park High School. So make sure that when you come out on the first night, you don't just think that everything is going to the Berry Center. You want to make sure you find the right location for the team that you're going to be following, because they'll be spread out just on that first Thursday night, which is tomorrow. Once the winners who win and go on to Friday on the right side of the bracket, they'll all start playing at the Berry Center then. The consolation bracket, which goes to the left, they'll still play at multiple locations. So make sure that you all check that out and be mindful of that, because, we'd all just like to go sit in the Berry Center the whole time, but unfortunately we got to move around because it just doesn't hold that many courts at one time. Now, Sloan, 6:30 game. Same gym, Gym 1. Mm-hmm. Dickinson and Jersey Village. So what we know about this game?
Let me first look right into the camera and tell you guys, Tremont Marcus back. He is officially back. I was a little bit harsh on him and hard on him this summer. I thought he didn't play to his level of, I thought he didn't play to his capability. But this high school season, he's been on a tear. He had a 42-point game. He had a 35-point game. He's been scoring in bunches, leading his team. His backcourt mate, Deuce Guidry, also another junior who can fill it up as well. They're arguably the highest scoring backcourt in the city. I know they'll be prepared. Anytime it's a big game, those two guys always step up and play well. They're facing a team who, honestly, I'm not sure if they're able to stop those two, just because, Deuce and Tremont have been on a mission, and they have a point to prove to guys like myself, and I think people here in our city and the state who don't give Dickinson the credit that they deserve or that they feel like they deserve, honestly. So I'm interested to see how they do. I'm interested to see how kind of Jersey Village, how they handle them. Now, Jersey Village has a point guard, Marcus Tobias, who's a junior as well, who he transferred from Side Springs, actually. So this is his first year on varsity at Jersey Village. Crafty point guard, really good in pick and rolls. He's leading the team right now in assists at 8.6 assists a game. So he'll have to possibly slow his game down to give that Jersey Village team a chance.
Okay. Again, for everybody, real quick, if you're watching this live, make sure you hit the share button, share it with some family, friends, colleagues, teammates, some other coaches. Get them the scouting report that these guys are giving you right now, so that when they get ready to play them later on, they get ready to help them and they know what to look for. This is some great information, guys. I'm actually enjoying this conversation right now. It's really good. Sloan, we're gonna go back into you. The 6:30 game at the top part of that bracket again, which is in Gym 2. We got North Shore and Cy Woods. What can you tell us about this matchup right here?
So North Shore is coming off a big tournament victory last weekend, but they lost one of their inside kids, Keemon Capers. They're not sure how long Keemon's going to be out. I'll find out today actually from his mother. But 6'7" Jalen Means, a long string being, high energy kid inside, helps them. Coach Benitez has his team playing really well. They're very disciplined. They play extremely hard. So I expect them to put a lot of pressure on Cy Woods. They have a half-court press and they have a three-quarter 1-2-1-1 press they use. So I'm expecting Cy Woods guard Damian Watts, who's a sophomore, really good sophomore, averaging about 16 points, about 8 assists a game. Hopefully he won't have too much trouble with the press that North Shore has.
So a long string bean, huh?
Yeah, Jalen Means. Yeah.
What about so style of play? You say with the press they come in, style of play can have a big be the difference in this game?
It definitely can. I watched North Shore play the season opener against Nimitz, and their pressure just totally crushed Nimitz from the jump. Like I said, they have a three-quarter court press and a half-court press that they use, and in North Shore, they're about 8-9 deep. So when guys get tired, Coach Benitez sends another group in. And like I said, they're extremely disciplined, especially defensively. And so they put a lot of pressure on you, both in the press and when you get back to half court.
Okay. Blue, last game of the day was not the last game. The second, it's the second game. It's first game in Gym 2 on Thursday night. We got Waxahachie and Cy Ridge. What can you tell us about those two teams and the style of play and the matchups that we're looking forward to seeing?
Well, that we talk about not giving away too much. Greg Gober, he's short and he's quick to the point, and he doesn't try to give too much away. But knowing Waxahachie and knowing what they are traditionally, Greg Gober has them playing hard. He'll pressure them. He'll pressure his opponent 94 feet. He will come out of timeouts, mix up the defenses. They're 7-1 right now. I believe last night they had off, so they're going into this weekend with some fresh legs, and they're led by CJ Nolan, who's a sophomore, at 15 points a game. JT Warren is a senior, averaging 12, and both of those two, Nolan and Warren, are both leading the team in rebounds also. So they really look to those two guys to put up the most points. Their point guard, which is very crucial to any Waxahachie team, BJ Francis, he's scoring near double digits also and distributing the ball. The one thing that Waxahachie has to do is just stay focused. When they're focused and they're playing hard and they're listening to Coach Gober, they're going to win a lot of games. And we talked about Farron Douglas earlier, moving around and getting in defensive stands. I think Greg Gober just throws away his shirt at the end of each game because that thing is just drenched. It's like he was playing 32 minutes in that game. And they draw a Cy Ridge team who's 5-5. They lost last night by 3 points to Spring Woods, but they held Kincaid. They lost last night 60-57. Defensively, they held Kincaid a few weeks ago to 29 points. So they can score in the 60s. They can play some defense, but which team is really going to show up and how are they going to match the intensity of Waxahachie is going to be key to Marcus Gabriel's team for them to even have a chance. They're going to have to match the intensity, because if you don't match the intensity of a Waxahachie team, you're going to get lost.
Wow. And they had a big tournament up there last week in Dallas, right?
There were several of them. Mansfield. They played last week. Waxahachie played in the Arlington Classic.
Okay.
They lost in the semifinals. Okay. So that's where they were last week, and they'll be in the Whataburger also with a couple of these other teams that are in this bracket. And if I may add, you said De'Aaron Fox is not going to walk through that door. However, I think that's the fun thing about this tournament is that I remember 2 years ago during his senior year, he went for 50. De'Aaron Fox went for 50. And he scored number 49 and 50 at the free throw line with like 0.4 seconds left. I don't know if y'all remember that. He got fouled, got his 50. And I think that Tremon Marcus is capable of putting up that kind of number. Obviously, he's proved it. That kind of excitement there in the Berry Center.
No, I agree with that. Now, I'll tell you what, sliding back to the top, Kenneth Lofton from Port Arthur Memorial, he sent us a reminder. He said, Port Arthur Memorial beat Silsbee by 20.
Yes, I said that they lost to him, and I was going to go back to that. They did. They beat Silsbee. I'm glad that he's tuned in during class to correct me. But yes, they beat Silsbee. They lost to Lancaster. They went down to Beaumont United, and then they've come off here the last couple of weeks and beaten Milby and some others. So yes, Kenneth, I apologize. I noticed my mistake. I should have corrected it.
In my bracket, I have them playing Duncanville in a nice quarterfinal matchup, PA Memorial. So that'll be, if they both can reach the Berry Center on Saturday, 11:30, that'll be a big time game, PA Memorial versus Duncanville.
Port Arthur Memorial, Duncanville. Now, tell me this. Now that would be a good matchup. Let's real quick, as we bring the show to a conclusion. Maybe one or two players to watch on each game going down. Whether you agree with each other, disagree, whatever. But let's go. No, we'll just talk about it from your brackets that you had. First game of the day, Blue. From as far as we'll take from the top. Port Arthur Memorial and Arlington Bull, a couple of players to watch.
Well, like I said earlier, with Port Arthur Memorial, Kenneth Lofton, we mentioned him. He's a really productive interior guy. You look at him, he doesn't look like your prototypical Division I kid, but he got great hands and footwork and can score around the paint and rebound. Nate Clover, we think he's a top 10 guy in the state. Go out there and rebound, run the floor, block shots. I mean, so those two kids right away. Freshman Amari Abram, lefty. I mean, really was impressive last couple of times we've seen him. So those two bigs in the guard are some to watch just from Port Arthur. Bowie, like you said, I mean, if you want to see a really great athlete, and Malcolm Mays, who was coming off the football field and making that transition to basketball, he's one. And then, of course, Dante Cody, 6'3" sophomore guard from Bowie is another one.
Okay. So what do you say about Spring Bridgeland? I know you say you kind of low key on Bridgeland, hadn't really had a chance to see him or not, but and you did speak about Keontae Cornelius. You still rolling with that? I
am. In that game, it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a duel between Keontae Cornelius and Cam Clardy to see who can outscore each other. I'm going on a limb and say it'll probably be like a 40 for Keontae, maybe a 30+ for Cam Clardy of Bridgeland.
That's all right. You give them a lot of love. You got the next game too, Sloan. We'll just go down in order. How about the Cy Springs and Cy Creek game?
Again, Cy Springs, the kid Devon Wright, I'm super excited to see him live. Everybody's been tweeting me about him, texting me about him. So he's the one guy in this matchup that I want, like I said, get a chance to lay my eyes on, look at him, evaluate him. and see if he has the goods that everybody tells me he has.
Okay. And they said Cy Creek, Nate Martin is out when they're big for them. So they're going to be trying to get some other guys to hopefully carry the weight a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay. Going down, Blue, Duncanville and Cy Park.
Well, I mean, you have Texas Tech signee and Jameis Ramsey. I mean, obviously we're looking for him to do big things. As we mentioned, Duncanville find a little bit more identity, share the ball a little bit, see what they're going to do. So you want to see Ramsey, who's a top 30 prospect in the nation, Micah Peavy, top 75. I mean, so they're loaded, and you want to keep your eyes glued to them, because if they both gel and that chemistry kicks, you're going to be in trouble as their opponent. And so you're looking at those two guys from Duncanville, and then also, like I mentioned earlier, Evan Goodman. He's a guard that can go out there and just add some points and help out Micah Peavy and Ramsey. Cy Park, Cameron Jing, 6 rebounds a game. AJ Ferguson, 12 points a game. So they're a little balanced in what they do. So those are two guys to kind of keep up with. Cy Park, like I said, they're kind of looking a little bit to gain that experience. Look forward a little bit to the district play that's coming up, and try to build something from here.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's kind of move this around a little bit, because I know we're going to come to a conclusion. Blue, you'll be tweeting for anybody that wants to get some updates and perspective from your point of view throughout the course of the weekend. You'll be tweeting from @Texas Hoops Gasso on Twitter. So make sure you all follow Blue on Texas Hoops Gasso, so you can get some updates from whatever Jim and his perspective from when he's going in. It's nothing like being able to get a lot of people's various perspectives and see how they view the game differently or the same. Sloan, you'll be tweeting from Big Sloan 32.
Correct.
That's BIG.
Yep. SLOAN 32.
Big Sloan, SLOAN 32. Big Sloan 32. Guys, listen. I want to thank you all for giving us your expertise and your input for this Cypress Hoops Invitational. I'm looking forward to it myself. I enjoy all the matchups. And for those guys that are listening, make sure, again, you go to on Twitter @Inside Booth. Check out the follow them back. Check out the poll. Have your teammates. Let's get a running poll to see who you got winning. I don't want to put you guys on the spot and ask you who you think is going to win the tournament, but maybe you might want to give me a Final Four. Maybe a thoughts on a Final Four. It might can motivate the other teams to mess up all our brackets. Anybody want to chime in on that one?
Well, I got to look at the bracket to see where we are here. When you look at the bottom side of that bracket, the Final Four. Hold on one second here.
Okay.
I would have. It's interesting. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of at the third quadrant, you're looking at or that third section of 8, Dickinson, and Waxahachie. North Shore is going to compete, but without Capers, that hole needs to be filled. And if Sam Benitez he does a great job of coaching and getting those guys to play hard and getting those guys to run and jump as he did when he was at Cy Springs. Dickinson could get into a little bit of a jam there, depending on how North Shore does defensively. So you know what? Let's just scratch that. Let's go North Shore and Waxahachie on the as two teams that can head into that Final Four.
I got to disagree with Blue on that one.
I'm not worried. Let's hear it then, Sloan. Let's go. That's that bottom quadrant you're talking about, that third quadrant? What are we saying right here?
Yeah. Yes.
I respect my guy Blue. He's been doing this a long time, but I don't see North Shore beating Dickinson. I just don't. I think Dickinson has too much firepower. I think, like you said, I think Tremont Marcus is a big stage for him, and he may very well put up a 40 or 50 in this tournament. I have them on that bottom side versus Waxahachie. And then in the middle, I have Eisenhower and Lancaster, which would be a really, really tough game. I'm going to go with my heart and my alma mater and pick Eisenhower over Lancaster. And then on the top side, I have Port Arthur Memorial and Duncanville. And that semifinal game is going to be huge. But I would say I would give the nods to Port Arthur Memorial just because inside they have such an advantage, like Blue stated earlier, with Big Nate and with Kenneth Lofton Jr.
I totally agree with that. The Port Arthur Memorial Duncanville matchup. Then you slide down a little bit there. Who's gonna really compete there with Eisenhower? I think Eisenhower has probably the higher percentage of getting to the Final Four when you kind of break down the brackets of Langham and Cy-Fair, Nimitz, Cy Falls, Eisenhower, Decaney, and Cy Lakes. I mean that one you can maybe pencil in a little bit easier than the other ones. But even to Sloan's point on the Dickinson, I'll fight you a little bit on this because we saw Dickinson. We saw them in the first round of Pasadena where Tremont Mark went for 42 that game. He went for 42, and then the next game they came out and had to play Mansfield Summit, who runs a similar style as San Benitez does over at North Shore. They scored 39 points.
But also, too, in that game, Blue, Deuce Gidry did not play.
Okay. Well, so
he did not play.
So we'll see what happens there. So it should be some interesting matchups everywhere around the board here, like we said earlier.
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a good one. So listen, I want to thank you again for being a part of this Inside the Booth, giving us an opportunity to get some preliminary talk about the event. Maybe after the event, we might get a chance to take about 25, 30 minutes to give us a recap of the event, who stood out, who won, what the coaches said, what players really made an impact, if there were any sleepers that kind of made their impact that we weren't aware of throughout the process, and who maybe from a statewide perspective, Blue, who maybe stamped in stone and who maybe elevated themselves. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about that from a citywide perspective. The same thing, Sloan. You know the city very well. You know a lot of these players. Maybe give some impact or input and feedback on guys who really elevated their name and somebody who the city of Houston needs to follow. So, guys, I want to thank you again. I'm gonna let you get back to your day. It's Wednesday. Blue, you got to get on the road, so be safe on the road. And I'll talk with you all.
We'll see you this weekend. Thanks, guys.
Hey, listen. Thanks again for tuning in to Live Inside the Booth. We're live inside the booth. We talking basketball, talking to Cypress Hoops, Cy Hoops Invitational. Make sure when you get ready to log on the Twitter and you want to keep some watch the feedback on it. Hashtag Cy Hoops. Hashtag CY Hoops, HOOPS. That's going to be a lot of the scores and feedback on Twitter will be under that hashtag. Remember, follow Blue on Twitter at Texas Hoops Gasso, GASO, at Texas Hoops Gasso. Follow Marcus Sloan on Twitter at Big Sloan, SLOAN 32. Big Sloan 32 on Twitter. Follow Inside the Booth on Twitter at Inside Booth, at Inside Booth. Make sure you follow. We're going to follow you back because we want to be get some information from you all to know updates about how you're doing, who's winning, who took an L, who took a big win, and who we need to have on live Inside the Booth as well. I'm Marlon Lowe for Blue Zertuche and Marcus Sloan. Thanks for joining us. And guess what? We'll see you at the Cypress Hoops Invitational.